Clerk will call the roll.
Glenn Whitley, County Judge.
Here.
Roy Seabrooks, Commissioner Precinct 1.
Present.
Marty Van Ravensway, Commissioner Precinct 2.
Here.
Gary Fickus, Commissioner Precinct 3.
Here.
J.D. Johnson, Commissioner Precinct 4.
Here.
Constitutes a quorum.
Thank you. Our invocation today will be delivered by our own Ron Bertel from the Auditor's Office, and after the invocation, please remain standing for the pledges.
Thank you. You'd all bow with me. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. We humbly thank you for all the wonderful blessings you have granted to us. Peace, prosperity, protection, and most importantly, salvation. Your word says all good gifts come from you, and we honor and praise you as our Creator and ruler of all. Psalm 127 reminds us, unless the Lord builds the house, its builders labor in vain. Unless the Lord watches over the city, the watchmen stand guard in vain. Throughout history, as your word shows, nations that seek to do your will are exalted, and those opposing your will are destroyed. And we are reminded that our own nation was almost destroyed in the Civil War, and after that our forefathers chose to place the phrase, "In God we trust," on our nation's money, as a constant reminder that our trust should not be in our things or our riches, but rather in you. So today we ask that your presence be strong in this place, so these chosen leaders of yours will easily see and know your will, and that they will trust in you and have the courage and resolve to do your will in all the business they conduct today, so you will continue to bless the affairs of this county. And in like manner, we ask for our state and national leaders, chosen by you and placed in office by you, that they not labor in vain after their own agendas, but seek to know you and trust you and do your will, so that your blessings will continue to be received in this land all across our nation. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Ron.
And happy birthday.
We are going to continue to honor TCU. They're going to their first BCS bowl game, and we're all excited about that. We might have wished they'd have gone to a different one, but we're happy at the fact that they're going to the one that they are going to. And again, they have a great season to be proud of, and we look forward to a good and victorious end to that season. Mr. Manius, do you have any agenda announcements?
There was something just said in passing that I don't think needs to be just looked over, but I know that the assistant auditor wished you happy birthday, and I think we should all wish you happy birthday today.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Care to tell us how many?
I'm just going to embarrass y'all.
Because he's so young.
Yeah, he's so young.
57.
When you get to be a big boy, I'm sure you'll let us know.
Well, y'all, I'm always going to be the junior member, I guess, of the. Go right ahead. I'm not going to dig any more holes. I'm going to stop shoveling here while I'm where I'm at.
Thank you, Your Honor. Members of the Court, we have several announcements for you this morning. The first one deals with the Purchasing Department's item 9H2, sale of recycled paper. There's a new court communication in your packet this morning as it relates to that particular item. Also under Purchasing, item 9H3 and 4, these are RFQs 2010-002 and 2010-003. We're going to ask that we hold those two items for 1 week. They'll be on the agenda for next week. Also, members of the court, last night we celebrated the Mayor's Council banquet, and just want to make one note of the banquet itself. Those of you all that were there, you might have noticed that there were centerpieces on the table which consisted of canned food. And Ann Farmer, one of our own, came up with what I think is a brilliant idea, and she needs to be commended for it. Rather than us spending money on centerpieces, she decorated those with canned food, and the money that we were going to spend on the centerpieces are going to the food bank. And also, we collected an additional $150 on top of that. That will also go to the food bank. And I really think it was a great idea, and we need to commend Ms. Farmer for that.
And we appreciate very much all the hard work you do and kind of organizing our tremendous volunteer effort by our employees, and it just wouldn't happen a lot without your help and your organization.
Happy birthday, Judge.
Thank you. Before we get into our proclamations and resolutions, I also want to take an opportunity to introduce the new president-elect of the Texas Association of Counties, our own Betsy Price. The first will be the first woman. Will be the first woman to hold that position for the state of Texas, and I can't think of a better person to have been chosen to do that, and we are extremely proud, and just as we are as proud of Commissioner Johnson, who just turned over the gavel and will now be the immediate past president.
Which I'm very appreciative for.
And I just think it really speaks highly, again, of Tarrant County and the respect that we have from the counties all over this state, and the hard work that our folks put forward with that regard. And so, again, congratulations, Betsy. It's really an honor, and we're very, very proud of you. Very, very proud of you.
Judge, when I first heard the news that Betsy was going to be president-elect of TAC, I sent her an email that said that we have come to expect leadership from Tarrant County public officials. She succeeds by a year J.D. as president of TAC, and you will be president of the National Association of Counties starting in July of this year. It is a recognition of not only the quality of our elected officials in the state of Texas, but on the national scale as well. So it's what we've come to expect, and we're proud of you, Betsy, for continuing that legacy.
You have before you the minutes of our regular meeting of December the 1st.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Johnson, who has a presentation to make at this time.
Okay, well, let me first apologize for my froggy voice, but this weather has taken its toll on me. But we are privileged today to make this presentation, and for the people that are here also to help with this presentation. I know that Rick Thompson, our legislative liaison, is here from TAC. Rick, thank you for coming from Austin today in this nice weather. And also, let me read some comments that we have, and then I'll make the introduction. But I want to thank all of the fellow county officials for joining us today for this first agenda item, a moment of special recognition for a job well done. The Texas Association of Counties, who acts as a unified voice for Texas counties, would like to recognize a legislator who calls Tarrant County home. Today, we're honoring Senator Wendy Davis, who has proven herself a friend of county government during the recent legislative session. And let me say, when I visited the Senate one day, she was the first one from the Senate floor to come up and say hello to me and give me a hug. And Wendy, I appreciate that. I hadn't forgotten it. She has forged this friendship through her support of local control, meaning she believes decision-making on revenues and taxes should be left up to local officials like us. Her leadership and work with other senators on this issue extremely important to county governments. Additionally, the senators' work on Senate Bill 2085 added important protections for county officials seeking to educate constituents on bond elections. Senator Davis, we thank you for your work on these and other county issues, and on behalf of the Texas Association of Counties and as County Commissioner of Tarrant County, I would like to present you with the Friend of County Government Award. If you would meet me at the podium, and then we'll also meet your, I know you have one guest, Charlie Boswell. Is there anyone else with you today? All right. And Rick, if you and Betsy would join me. Betsy doesn't realize what she did. 2 years of president-elect and then 2 years of president is forever. All right. Well, Wendy, congratulations to you, and thank you for everything that you do for us.
Thank you so much for this. It really means a lot to me to know that not only I have the privilege and the opportunity to be working on your behalf, but that you recognize the things that we're doing at the state level to be helpful to you. I am not alone in being a true believer in local control in the state legislature. Fortunately, we have a number of people who have come, like I did, from a local background, city councils or mayors or county commissioners themselves, and they've brought that hat with them going forward into the state government. Our job, of course, is to teach the others who may not really have the appreciative and the understanding of that perspective that we've brought to the table with us. I'm very proud that a member of my Senate team, my Senate staff, is Charles Boswell, who, of course, was formerly the city manager of Fort Worth and who joins me here today. And, of course, you know he would never let me get away with not supporting fully and completely a local control agenda. It really was an honor to represent you there in my first session in the Senate, and I look forward to working on behalf of some issues that I know we all care about, particularly as we face what's happening in drilling activities in the Barnett Shale Arena. I know each of you is challenged in terms of hearing from your constituencies about their concerns and your inability to address those. And of course, we took a run at that this session, working to try to enhance county authority, regulatory authority in that arena in this last session, and we'll be taking another run at it again. And I have a feeling we'll have a few more friends at the table this time as this issue filters out to other senators and other representatives in the Texas legislature. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Wendy.
Appreciate it. Happy birthday, Phil. Good fraud. That's right.
And Commissioner Johnson, I'm going to assume that you're moving that we receive and file that.
I do.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Commissioner Brooks.
I have a proclamation to be presented at a later date recognizing Pastor E.L. Bowman, the founding pastor of Greater Mount Tabor Missionary Baptist Church in my precinct, and just parenthetically, the father of Chief Theron Bowman of the Arlington Police Department. So I move its ratification.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Members, you have before you the consent agenda.
Move for approval.
Second.
Agenda.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. We have two public hearings today. I'll call on Ms. Lamb to come forward for those public hearings.
Thank you, Judge. I'm here today to request that Commissioners Court consider the installation of speed limit signs of 35 miles per hour on Hewland Street south of FM 1187. This is located in Precinct 1.
This is a public hearing, so I'll open the public hearing at this time and ask if there's anyone here wishing to comment regarding this matter. There appearing to be none, then I'll close the public hearing and we will be available for action.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. The second public hearing today is a request that Commissioners Court lower the speed limit from 40 miles an hour to 35 miles per hour on Tiger Trail, also located in Precinct 1. This request is that this action is a request of Precinct 1 and the citizens in this neighborhood, and the county engineer has conducted a study and recommends this lowering of the speed limit by 5 miles per hour.
Again, this is a public hearing. I'll open the public hearing and ask if there's anyone here wishing to speak to this matter. There appearing to be none, then I will close the public hearing and we'll take any action.
I'd just like to say, as regards this request, Senator Davis, this is a rather tortured effort to get at regulation of the gas drilling activity off of Tiger Trail. We don't have the authority to regulate where those wells are sited or anything else in relation to them. This is an attempt to get their attention so that when they drive through that neighborhood, they will be aware at least that there are homes along that street and there are children playing in the yards, and they need to be aware. Give us more controls, and we won't have to do stuff like this. That having been said, I move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Manius.
Thank you, Your Honor. Members of the court, we have 4 items for you yet this morning. The first one, this is a request of the Commissioner to the Commissioner's Court to cast its 617 votes in the Tarrant Appraisal District Board of Directors election in the following manner: 309 votes for Jim Austin and 308 votes for Tommy Brown.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Your Honor. Members of the Court, on item number 2, we're requesting that the Commissioner's Court approve the Tarrant, Parker, Denton, Johnson Counties Medical Examiner District Agreement for fiscal year 2010.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Members of the Court, on item number 3, we're requesting that the Court ratify an application which was submitted to the Governor's Criminal Justice Division and pass a resolution in support of the creation of a Veterans Court Program. I would like to note that Judge Carr is in the audience and has played an instrumental role in helping to develop this application, and we believe we're going to be successful in receiving funding from the Governor's office on this.
I want to move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Judge Carr, I appreciate very much your efforts in this regard. You've taken the role here, the key role in this one, as well as other individual and specific courts in the past, and we appreciate that very much. I also believe that there may be some grant funds available through our Senate Bill 7 task force, and we need to kind of follow up on that and see if we might not be able to also get some money via that process.
Judge Carr, there's also some people in Austin that was asking me last week about this court program, and I'm going to be referring some folks to you if you don't mind.
Judge, I'd just like to say Senator Davis was one of the authors of the bill that led to where we're at on this as well, so I guess this is kind of Senator Davis. She has a hand in this as well. Just like to point that out. Thank you. Thank you, Senator. Any other discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Members of the Court, on item number 4, we're requesting that the Court approve and concur with the actions of the Tarrant County Hospital District to approve a construction contract with Henderson Construction for the CT scanner renovation project at JPS.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
This is at the old St. Joseph Professional Building.
Yes. Yes.
Any other discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Tidwell.
This morning, we have 3 items for the court's consideration. Our first item this morning is to ask the court to authorize the release and substitution of the depository collateral as outlined in your court communique.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Our next item is to ask the court to receive and file the auditor's report of Constable 3 tax sales. I would like to point out that when the constable's office took this function over a number of years ago, they did so with very limited resources and support, and they've continued to work diligently with the resources that they have. We do have a fairly significant concern, though, and that's related to the system. The current system that they have is not adequate. We have been working for a number of years, IT has, on putting in a new system. We even asked that it be postponed while we were doing some of our work so that we could make sure we were in agreement and understood what needed to take place. Now that we've finished with our work and everyone's thoroughly discussed that, I would certainly encourage the court and IT to continue into the successful completion of that system to help them manage their business. Again, they work very hard, they do a very good job, but the system is it's an Excel spreadsheet, part of it. Requires a lot of manual intervention, it's disjointed. We really need a comprehensive system that they can use that is more functional. They are working with the district attorney's office. We would encourage that they continue to do that as well, and even our outside tax attorneys if need be, and other fee offices here at the county, to make sure that we bring everybody together and that what we're doing, it's a complex process. It's not straightforward in all instances, and again, they're to be commended for their hard work, but we do need to see if we can strengthen the controls and the processes associated with that system.
I have a question. In reading the report, you state that they've been working on this system for 7 years.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct? Is it now to the level where it's a priority with IT and with the constable's office that this be accomplished within a very short period of time, and is that possible?
Well, I certainly wouldn't begin to speak for other offices. I do know from our discussions with the constable's office that they're very interested in finishing it, and I believe the same with IT. I think there's been a lot of miscommunication, and even my own folks that were involved in the process at one time. Again, it's just not a straightforward, simple process. And at this point in time, again, I think all the departments need to note that it does need to be made a priority. It does have to be resolved, and resolved quickly.
I was under the impression 4 or 5 months ago that this was a priority then.
It is a priority, and in fact, we've already created a charter, a project charter for this. We have people assigned to it from IT. Really, it's one where that we're trying to stabilize the existing system, which has been in effect for the last number of years. It's an old system. We're also creating a new system to do that, but IT and the constable's offices have been working together. You might note in the response that the constable had on this that they are working diligently with IT, and it is something that we're addressing.
Well, I just want to be sure we have a good understanding of working together to accomplish this goal.
Commissioner,
is that your assessment that that's being done?
Yes. In fact, the auditor's office and the district attorney's office have both been involved with IT and the constable's office in structuring that charter and moving forward with it, yes.
Okay.
Move to receive and file.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to receive and file. Any further discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
And our last item this morning is to ask the court to receive and file the auditor's report of the medical examiner's office and the controls over financial operations. I would point out there also that the medical examiner's office over the last 10 years has had significant growth. Their revenues and expenses has almost doubled or doubled. The systems that they have were put in place. They started using their financial system package back in the late 90s. And they started with the current case management system that they have in the early 2000s. Neither of those systems are integrated. So we have a finding number 3, that speaks to What we believe is that there is a material weakness associated with this system. There is no way to know that all services that are performed by the medical examiner's office are appropriately billed, receipted, and the money's ultimately deposited because of the complexity, the volume, and the lack of integration. The ME's office, in recognition of this, again, has been working with IT. They've increased their staff. They have a business manager position that they've filled, which is a key to their office having greater controls and stability. But once again, we would encourage the court to continue to work with the ME's office and maybe even to address the need for some additional resources to integrate those systems. The auditor's office agreed in 1998 that QuickBooks was a solution for the ME's office. It's certainly no longer a solution for their financial perspective. They're a large fee office doing a large amount of work, and we can't use a proprietary system that our own IT people don't support and can't support. It made our audit extremely difficult because you can't even get the information easily out of QuickBooks. You know, QuickBooks is set up for a small mom-and-pop type shop and not for a multi-million-dollar business, which is what the ME's office is. So from that standpoint, again, we would just encourage the court to work with the ME's office and IT to find a solution to this.
Move to receive and file.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to receive and file. I would just echo, I think we pride ourselves on being technologically savvy and advanced, and this is another system. QuickBooks is a great, as you said, mom and pop, small business type deal. It's not a package that we want to be using for an operation as large as the ME's office, and so this is another priority that we need to be, unfortunately placing on an already strapped IT department. But I think both of these things that we've mentioned here this morning are critical, and we need to go forward with those things.
The court should be aware that in terms of funding IT projects, we went to a project management office system 2 or 3 years ago that ranks and prioritizes IT projects based upon a business case model. The situation that we have now that we're facing with the constable's offices and the medical examiner's office is what happens when you set up a system like that and you hit a brick wall and interrupt the flow of resources into that system, as we did this fiscal year. We faced a budget scenario in Tarrant County where we put things on hold. We didn't give raises to our employees. We did not continue to fund new projects and new programs. And when you do that, you reach a bottleneck. And that's what we have playing out with these 2 IT projects.
I would hope that we could get an idea, though. I mean, I certainly hear what you're saying. I certainly agree with you, Commissioner Brooks, but I would like for us to have some timelines and maybe some sort of we say we're making it a priority. Oftentimes, until we set timelines, we don't make it a priority until we say, here's when it's supposed to be done by.
In the charters themselves, there are timelines that are being created. So one of the things on both of these issues that we're attempting to do, and we'll be successful at it too, is to integrate all the financials into the SAP system. And that's been something that has been not only a goal but a priority for everything that we're doing. So, and that takes a little bit longer. Okay, but I think we've got the right teams put together on it. Everybody that touches this thing, from the financial piece to the business piece to the legal piece, I think we're all right there. And you're right, we had to scale back some because we didn't have the resources this year. But let us go back and prioritize some of the things that we're doing. Then we'll bring it back to the.
Could we expect to maybe see something back in January or February of next year?
Sure, absolutely. In fact, the charter, as it relates to Precinct 3 Constable, we can bring back in the early part of January for you all to look at, so that you're at least aware of what we anticipate doing in that area.
Okay. Any other comments? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Mr. Snyder?
The Risk Management Board is recommending the payment of the 2 claims that are listed on your agenda.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Mr. Phillips?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It is requested that Commissioners Court approve a construction management contract, Thomas S. Byrne, for construction management services related to the construction of the medical examiner's expansion project that was included in the 2006 capital improvement program.
Move approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
It is requested that Commissioners Court accept as security bond from Thomas S. Byrne for construction medical examiner's office project as is included in the 2006 capital improvement program.
The DA's office has approved this. Ray, the DA's office has looked at this bond.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Glenn?
Move to receive and file the personnel agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. We have one additional item for the court. We're asking the court to approve a waiver of terminal benefits for Constable Precinct 4. The constable has a deputy constable who's retiring at the end of this year with 243 vacation hours. The actual cost of the waiver is a little bit more than $6,400, but we do anticipate an offset of salary savings of around $11,000. The constable is requesting that the waiver be effective January 4th.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Brewer?
Morning.
Morning.
Public Health has 2 items for your approval. The first is a contract between Message Media and Tarrant County Public Health.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
The second item is approval of a contract between the University of Texas Southwestern Medical Center at Dallas and Tarrant County.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Beecham? Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm seeing TCU, but thinking LSU.
Need to get you a purple cap.
Sir?
I've got a purple cap for you. If you'd like to wear one, I've got a purple cap.
I would like to tell Mr. Mendez that if we use an SEC timekeeper, Texas could have a problem.
Yeah, you're right.
We have 3 items for your consideration this morning. Our first item is a bid award recommendation for our bid number 2010-017. This is a bid for the purchase of tactical air masks for the Sheriff's Department. Recommendation will be toward the low bidder, Casco Industries, on a per-unit price basis.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Item number 2 is also a bid award recommendation for bid number 2010-023 for sale of recycled paper. This recommendation is to award to the high bidder, Evergreen Fiber Sales, at the rate of $192.50 per ton.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
If we can skip to item number 5, which is our last item. This is an item in regards to our bid number 2010-004. This was a bid for our annual contract for the purchase of all our hybrid vehicles, which was approved in court on the 17th of November. On the 23rd of November, we received a communique from Grand Prairie Ford making us aware that they could not honor their prices. They chose to raise their prices $3,000 per vehicle. At least they wanted to. Our recommendation would be to cancel that award, which is item number 8, which was for the Ford Escape hybrid. Re-award to the next low bidder, which would be Philpott Motors, and we also would recommend removing them from our bidders list for a period of 2 years.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any appointments today, court members? There being none, then you have before you the claims, including the addendum.
Move approval of the claims, including the addendum.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Briefing items, Mr. Manius.
Thank you, Your Honor. We have 3 items to bring to the court this morning. The first item, item A, is a update as relates to Texas AgriLife Extension Services Expanded Food and Nutritional Education Program. Ms. Mayette and Ms. Holland are here to address the court. Also, I believe Ms. Bennett, who is with Como Montessori, is here also.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for inviting us to be here with you today. I'm very proud to be here today. My name is Sarah Holland, and this is Darlene Myatt, my coworker. We're here on behalf of the Texas AgriLife Extension Service Expanded Nutrition Program, and we want to share a little bit about what we're doing here in Tarrant County. This is our 40th programming year, so we're excited. FNEP is celebrating 40 years of service. And we do have a PowerPoint for you. Okay, the Expanded Food Nutrition Education Program helps young families and youth with limited resources, provides some educational opportunities in basic nutrition, food safety, stretching food dollars.
They're playing with their things here. Let everybody play
That's
with
what they're for. That's what they're for.
Okay.
Need to be a better shot.
Don't even think about it, J.D.
Well, that shows you a little bit about what we do.
Don't be hitting our state senator out there, J.D. Sorry, Wendy. You guys don't bring us toys.
Well, that's what it's about. It's about staying healthy,
squirt
getting
guns to
exercise.
kids in the middle of a presentation.
True. Well, we do like the flimsy frisbee, because this is not dangerous for children. It can hit other people, adults or children, and it is safe. Yeah, it is safe. So that's one thing that we do. Darlene handles the youth outreach in Tarrant County, so she'll tell you a little bit about what she does. But this is a broad overview of what we do. We provide educational opportunities in basic nutrition, food safety, stretching food dollars, healthy meal preparation, and physical activity for both adults and youth with limited resources. One thing we're proud to say is that FNEP brings learning into the homes of Tarrant County residents, and we do this by a hands-on learning approach. We want them to get their hands dirty. We want them to actually get in there and do what we're teaching them to do at home. We provide this through a series of interactive lessons based on research-based information. And we do this through extension agents like myself and Darlene, and also we're fortunate to have some peer educators as well as volunteers that help us spread this outreach in the community, because we could not do it ourselves. The support of Tarrant County community partnerships is also a big part of our program, so we work with a lot of other agencies throughout Tarrant County to help us spread the word about nutrition and health. For the adult phase of the program, we saw a total of 781 program families this last year, and 64% of those families actually completed a series of lessons. So they came 6 or more times to get this education, so they received a whole series, a whole package program, and we're very proud about that. And as a result of their participation,
Okay, Duff, it's not moving.
okay, here we go. As a result of their participation, 88% improved in one or more food resource management practices at home, 68% improved in one or more food safety practices, and 90% improved in one or more nutrition practices. And 31% reported a positive change in physical activity. So we're really, really pleased to present that information about our adult component. Darlene's going to share a little bit of information about the youth participation here in the county.
Good job. As you heard, I do get to advance that one more time. Wait a minute. There we go. I do have responsibilities for coordinating the youth component here in Tarrant County through the cooperation with other agencies and organizations who feel the need to not reinvent the wheel, but to take advantage of our resource-based information. We are able to expand our outreach to over 10,000 children per year. You can see the numbers for fiscal year 09. 10,573 children were reached, primarily through classroom programs in support of the Coordinated Health Project here in the Fort Worth Independent School District, partnering with them, and also offering after-school projects to remind the kids of the things they have learned in the classroom, as well as during special summer outreach activities, reminding them those general cues about this is why we need to make good choices based on food, how those foods are prepared, and more importantly, to make sure there is a need for daily exercise, including those Frisbees that you have received. We do have, as part of the structured curriculum, a built-in evaluation that helps us to monitor the progress that is made toward the impact indicators. We know based on that information, 79% of the children do eat a variety of foods as a result of participating in the lesson series. 89% have increased their knowledge of basic nutrition. 83% have also increased their abilities to select low-cost and nutritious foods. And we also want to make an effort to develop self-sufficiency skills. So 99% of them have improved safe food handling practices, while also making a huge improvement in their attitudes about improved or increased physical activity. There we go. As Sarah mentioned, we do rely heavily on volunteer work. Particularly for me, it's an honor to work with so many of our young professionals who will be entering the field of nutrition and dietetics through either TCU or the Tarrant County College Department of Nutritional Sciences, in that they need support not only in the classroom but for large-scale community-wide events, including Kids Fest, to encourage things like portion control, where parents and children are working together to strengthen the family unit. Cost benefits, I think it's important to show that for every dollar invested in the program, that realizes an investment of $10 in savings for health care costs, $2 savings for the food costs by the participants. In Tarrant County alone, that's the equivalent of $2.9 million savings in health care costs and almost $500,000 in food costs alone. Obviously, recognition is very important for all of our participants. As Sarah mentioned, we do have a series of lesson series, not only for our adults, but for the children. That's not the end of their extension experience. Like this young lady, Ms. Danae, was very happy to be involved in the overall 4-H program to extend her educational learning experiences, whether that be in foods and nutrition or any one of a number of other ways to make a significant difference in her life. And I think an advantage to me, having had an opportunity to work with the program for a number of years, I do get to also work with those young participants who grow up. I've invited Jana Bennett to be here today as one of our participants as a youth. Now she's all grown up, and she's going to share with you some of her experiences as a graduate, like Ms. Danae Huckabee, and what she's doing now in the Como community to make sure that Better Diets for Better Health effort continues.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Jana Bennett, and I'm the principal at Como Montessori School in Fort Worth ISD, and it's a K through 8th grade school. Pardon?
In Precinct 1?
In Precinct 1, yes. Commissioner Brooks knows me well. Actually, he's been at our campus numerous times. I have vivid memories growing up as a Vacation Bible School participant at Como First Baptist Church, where Darlene Myatt for many years provided hands-on cooking experiences as well as information on nutrition and the basic food groups to us at Como First Baptist. Growing up as a teenager, it was very educational because being the eldest of 4 daughters, I many times had to share with my younger sisters hands-on cooking experiences, and so the educational enlightenment that I got through the Extension Service helped me to make healthy choices as well as inspire my sisters to do the same as they got to taste my delicious meals. So I think that by providing students in the Fort Worth ISD the same kinds of experiences and knowledge about being health conscious and exercising and having appropriate diet and nutrition as a part of their daily lives will be very beneficial. So thanks for inviting me, Ms. Myatt.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Court members, if we can go, are we finished yet?
Yes.
Okay,
great.
thank you very much. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Court members, we can go to item V. This is the update on the H1N1 influenza. Ms. Brewer, your address the court at this time.
All right. Since the Thanksgiving holidays, we have seen a slight increase in influenza-like illness in our community. That is what we thought we would see happen. Hopefully it won't be any more than a slight increase. But again, the prevention message is out there as we are traveling and having company over the coming holidays. We have 12 sites open now, as have been indicated in the paper and the TV and radio. We have our 7 clinics and our 5 storefronts open. They are busy, but we'd like them to be even busier. We have one mass event scheduled tomorrow. That would be the 9th at the Northwest Tarrant County Community College. We appreciate all the cooperation of the community college, and that will be from 10 until 5 tomorrow. That's December 9th. I want to remind everybody again that we do not require appointments and there is no charge for the vaccine. I also want to share with you that to date, based on our best available data, in Tarrant County, the private sector providers have received 340,107 doses of H1N1, and Tarrant County Public Health has received 63,600 doses of H1N1. We still have about 1,100 doses of seasonal flu vaccine left, so again, we're reminding those that are in those risk categories to go ahead and get their seasonal flu as well as their H1N1.
Thank you, Lynn. Any questions?
We are trying to schedule a event also for all the county employees.
Oh, yes, December 16th, but I don't have the time yet, but that's the date that we're looking at. And then we'll be working with those of you that we don't have clinics in some courthouses to provide services out there as well. And after the holidays, we will be working with some of our ISDs that have asked us to come out and work with them. They're willing to do public clinics at their schools, and Northwest ISD is one of the first ones we'll be working with.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before we move to the next item, I do want to recognize Commissioner Ray Clark from Kaufman County. Apologize for not having recognized you earlier. He was here also for the presentation for Senator Davis. And Commissioner, we appreciate very much you coming out today, and hope you've enjoyed the meeting. Now, Mr. Phillips.
I'd like to give you this month's update on the maximum security jail project that was included in the 2006 capital improvement program. I have 4 items for you this morning. First, the construction drawings and specifications for the project are down in Austin being reviewed by the Texas Commission on Jail Standards right now. I talked with the Director of Planning yesterday, Brandon Wood, and he stated he'll be giving us a phone call up here in a couple of days so we can go down, the project team can go down and visit with him to discuss his review comments. So that should happen next week. Secondly, Sheriff D. Anderson and Bob Knowles have signed off on the construction drawings as they relate to the quantity, the type, the adjacency and configuration of the inmate cells in the jail. They also have signed off on the medical area and the kitchen. I would like to thank the Sheriff Anderson and Bob Knowles for their patience regarding getting through these times. The architects had some difficulties with the drawing sets and getting them to marry up together this summer. And Bob Knowles has spent quite a bit of his time reviewing drawings time and time again. And Bob, I certainly appreciate that. Third, we have talked the last couple of times related to recessing the light fixtures in the inmate cells. And that is not quite as promising as we had once hoped. The structural engineer has completed his analysis, and he is requiring that these large holes in the ceiling, the concrete ceiling, they're 4 foot wide, 4 foot long by 2 foot wide. They need to be at least 6 inches away from the wall, and they need to be at least 18 inches away from each other in the ceiling. These are fairly large holes. The issue is we already have 4 holes in the ceiling to begin with before we start putting lights up there. We've got 2 for the smoke purge and 2 for the air conditioning. Now we have 2 larger holes in the ceiling where now we have 6. And also he's requiring that if we install these, cut out these holes in this 6-inch cast-in-place concrete ceiling, that we line them up linearly because to help us with the rebar configuration and to ensure we have good structural design, so they don't need to be offset from one another. That's what he's requiring. That's somewhat problematic with the air grills. The Texas Commission on Jail Standards requires that the air grills be no less than 75% of the horizontal distance between each other in the cell, and they must cover 50% of the vertical distance in the cell. And what that means is there's an issue with the laying out all of these holes in the ceiling. Our mechanical engineer, who's been successful on our projects designing smoke purge systems, feels very strongly where he needs to put his supply air grills and such for his smoke purge, and the location of these new ceiling, these cutouts will be somewhat problematic. All of that said, let's go back to the light requirement. There's 20-foot candle of light required at the sink and at the writing surfaces to meet jail standards. Putting all these together and making all these work in line with the structural issues, mechanical issues, and the light issues, not to mention some of the fire code issue we haven't worked through yet, staff is recommending that we put surface mount fixtures in the project.
What do we have in the jails right now?
Surface mount fixtures. I've talked with Brandon Wood of the jail standard and asked him where they possibly have used these particular recessed fixtures in inmate cells, and he couldn't think of any.
So on the ones that we've got right now, how frequently are they? I mean, my concern is that, okay, anything that's sticking out from the ceiling, they're going to find a way to destroy it, and we're going to constantly be repairing it. How frequently are we having to repair in those cells that we currently have?
Judge, I've talked with Mark Owens, who's the building manager, who's been there several years, and his staff, and they have to replace 1 or 2 fixtures a year.
Now, these people, the jail that we're building is kind of for the worst of the worst, isn't it?
And we have the worst. Those folks are now in our correction center and our 350 Belknap now, so they have access to light fixtures now, and they're not recessed, only in the holding cells. And the holding cells have plaster ceilings, not 6-inch thick concrete ceilings. So. But we're not sorry.
I had a good visit with Clarence Presley yesterday regarding these lights, and it's been a concern of Chief Knowles and myself. I have not been over to see the mock-up yet. I understand there's one over at Cold Springs or Green Bay, which is it?
Cold Springs.
Cold Springs. But the rounding contour of the lights and what have you is not going to give the prisoners an opportunity to reach up and get a hold of something. Okay. All that will be exposed is the round glass, I'm told.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you feel better about
I feel better about it, and of course, Chief Knowles can speak for himself. I just went out and had a word with him, but that was a concern. But to meet jail standards as far as the smoke purge and as far as the light that has to meter a certain amount over here in each place in that cell, I don't think we've got any options. And to the best of jail standards knowledge, they have not approved a recessed lighting arrangement for any other jail.
That being said, I suggest we move on.
Thank you. And the last thing I have is,
I thought you said you only had 3.
I think I said 4, didn't I?
You said 4.
Okay, well, you're
Broadus and KI, our project managers for this project, are now drafting a letter to City Councilman Joel Burns and the City Manager's Office requesting waiver of street rental fees for the corrections, or for the jail project and medical examiner's project both. The street rental fees add up to about $500,000 total over the period of time. We're actually going to be, with city's approval, we want to take in that particular lane all the way around the jail for their staging areas, and on St. Louis Street for the medical examiners. And it adds up to be about $500,000. We're going to ask the City of Fort Worth to waive those fees, just as they did with our Family Law Center project. And that's all I have this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
David, where are we with plan review at the City of Fort Worth?
On the jail, they have both projects, actually. I think the jail, as we just worked through some grease trap issues, grease trap interceptors, and some other things we're working through with the water department. And I think we don't have any major hurdles there that I'm aware of. And also, I think we're a little closer for being a permittable project for the medical examiners, because I think the only major thing we lack is getting the plat filed and getting it to the city, which I think happens this week or next. So I don't see any major hurdles on either project being permittable at this time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We do have an audience participation form today. I would just like to note to Charles and to Wendy, don't you wish you could have run your city council meetings quite so quickly? And
Very impressive.
We have Tom, and I'm going to, in my usual propensity of mispronouncing names, mispronounce this one, I'm sure. Is it Dimura?
Yes, sir.
That's a rarity. That would like to speak. Would you please repeat your name and
Yes,
your
sir.
address for the record?
Yes, sir. My name is Tom Demira. I live in at 2705 Lucas, Arlington, Texas, Miss Van Ravensway's district, I believe. And I'm here really somewhat on behalf of my daughter and some other folks. My daughter is autistic. My daughter has been involved with MHMR now for a few years. She's 22. And questions have come up because of what is basically a street name-calling deal. And here I sit before county commissioners to investigate what we're doing with financing for MHMR. I didn't start out to come here. My daughter called another little girl a name at a vendor that would be Expanco. And Expanco is a vendor for MHMR. I find out that MHMR is a vendor for the county. I go down, I call Health and Human Services, and I find out that DADS is the funding organization. Yesterday's paper, there's $400 million in the state coffers that are distributed for MHMR. Now, I don't know how it's, I know there's substance abuse, alcohol abuse, and there's mental retardation. But anyway, down in our neck of the woods, my daughter back at the ranch went from Expanco to a thing called Educare. These are two extremes of the spectrum of supported employment in the county. Now, there's 175 people over here at Expanco, and it seems to be the Cadillac. Over here at Educare in Arlington, we seem to have the other end of the spectrum. Hundreds of people that are involved with group homes. I'm trying to sort it all out, and here I am. I'm trying to figure out who is in the chain of command, who is responsible, how is the funding done? Because I never thought about it. But $400 million in the state's quite a bit of change. We went through a similar thing. Miss Wendy Davis over there is one of my favorite politicians because her office and some of the other politicians around solved the Medicaid problem with Evercare, a whole other issue altogether. But my daughter's just like a lot of these folks, and I'm not the only parent. We had some questions at Expanco that basically were stonewalled. The same people are in Expanco that are in MHR. I mean, I even went outside MHMR. I find everybody's a neat little family. There's 175 people that are getting very good service at Expandcare. There's no doubt about it. Nobody's doing anything wrong. There's nobody stealing any money. There's nothing to see here. But the problem I'm seeing is we have 100,000 people with disabilities. We have a Cadillac for 175 people over here. How is this money distributed? How are the decisions made? Apparently it comes through here. I'm not sure how. But if you'd illuminate the situation for me and some of our other families, I'd appreciate it.
Let me just, a couple of things, Mr. Director. Because it's not on the agenda today, we cannot respond to your questions today.
Okay.
But what I would ask that you do is first to get with Mr. Manius here, who is our county administrator. Let him talk with you about the process, make sure that we understand the questions. If you do not get answers that you feel are adequate, then please ask for an item to be put on the agenda, and we will come back and we will discuss it more open. You know, we'll discuss it here in court and be able to respond and go back and forth with you at that point in time. And then, Mr. Manius, part of that discussion, I would remind you of a new council that we've set up for folks, autism and different, that has just recently been set up in Tarrant County, and that is being done by ARC as with Richard Garnett as well as with Jim McDermott from MHMR. But we want to be sure that you have an opportunity here, and that if you don't feel like you've gotten an adequate response, then please have us put it on the agenda, and we'll come back and we'll...
I'm just trying to find out the chain of accountability and what the process is. That's all I'm interested. I understand that you can't.
But thank you very much for coming out today, and please see Mr. Manius. At this time, the Commissioners Court will recess from open session and move to closed session to discuss items exempted under sections 551.071, 072, 074, 076, and 087 of the Texas Government Code.
Are you going to I-35 deal tomorrow?
I'm going to go after the other part of it, so I don't know when I'm going to get there, because I've got a workforce development board meeting.